Let me ask you guys a question because I talk about this on social media, and I've said that a younger woman has patience for an attractive guy with ambition, and I heard ambition there. We've also got Melanie on the panel who's 52, and I've said that older women have a lot less patience for a guy with a plan or some ambition. They kind of have the expectation that they've done something with their lives by the time they get to a certain age. So I'm curious, like Melanie, guy that's hot but has a plan and some ambition but is broke. Do you have patience for a guy like that? Is that something that you're willing to work with, or do you need a guy that kind of like shows up with his act together?
At this stage, with my experience, there's so much more. Are you talking if I meet someone this around my same age?
Yeah,
Or
because I mean,
yeah,
like, we say sometimes in this space, like I'll tell guys not to play Captain Save a Ho, right? And I think women will probably play after the age of 40, Captain Save a Bro, maybe, right? Like, he's got all kinds of problems in his life, and you have to swoop in and deal with all of his stuff. But I've noticed that women, like as they get older, 35, 40 plus, they're like, dude, like, where's your house? Where's your car? Do you have a stable job? Like, are you making at least six figures? Because I got my act together. What's your act look like, sort of thing.
yeah,
Whereas a younger gal, maybe in her 20s, will be like, hey, if he's hot and he has a plan, then I'll work with him because he's got some ambition. So I'm just trying to clarify that, with the two ladies over here because the age spread.
yeah. At my stage, especially too after going through a divorce, being married for so long, having 4 kids, I've had to do so much like personal work and have been through so much uh, to meet a man that is having the issues, needs to get through stuff. This sounds really rude,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to do it. I
Okay.
wish them well,
Yeah.
but I've had to face all that and get to a certain point. So I would rather, like you always say, have someone that complements that same amount of work and growth and experience. Doesn't make them bad, but I
Mm-hmm.
have met a lot of guys 45, 55 that are upside down. And
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, well, most guys my age are going to probably have been through divorce, have kids, and have the same outlook on just this plan and having yourself together. And it doesn't always happen. So, no, being broke, I, it's not my thing.
It's generally, I mean, what I've seen, anyways, it's generally a deal breaker for most older women that are together, you know, financially, is they don't like. I mean, I'll say it on this panel, and I've said it many times before, but women don't tend to share the pot of gold with men, right? Like they just want a guy to show up and has his shit together, basically,
Right,
when it comes to like over 35, 40,
right.
right?
Well,
I want to
and
ask you a
then
question a little more on that. I want to double down really quick. But Melanie, go ahead and finish your thought, and then I'll ask.
I was just going to, what you and Rich talk about as far as a man that's holding frame and being at this stage of my life, understanding that is so appealing, especially to me. I can't speak for all women my age, but to be able to have a man that does hold frame and is strong in that, to
What
be
is your
able to,
definition of frame? Like, what is your understanding of it? If you had to explain it to like your 21-year-old self.
um, so a man that understands himself, has his assets together, knows what he wants out of life, is focused on that versus women, to hold that, stick with that. And then when a woman comes along that can pass all these tests to be in his frame, there's such a just a beauty in that and being able to settle into that frame because you can be more feminine. You can be the beauty while the man holds the frame. And being just young and ambitious, a guy usually doesn't have a frame set yet. It's not a bad thing. They just don't. They haven't had enough life experience.
Mm.
And that's how I feel. But to step into that and take a deep breath and be like, oh, there's frame. For a lot of women, they're gonna be, the guy's a dick, he's bossy, he's this way. And I'm like, no, this is how it's supposed to be when you're a woman. It, to step into that and let him hold the reins. You can support so much of it, but there's so much you can let go of and settle into being a woman.
Can you, Moth, maybe you can explain frame to the ladies as you see it?
Yeah, you guys explain it.
I'm just going to deal with this air conditioner because it's way too loud for me. I'll be right back.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the whole idea of frame is essentially what frame is it's a really, when we say frame, it's like a picture frame. It's either and it's the life that you designed for yourself. Everybody is living a life in a picture frame, so to speak. So what does the picture of your life look like as a man? And in any relationship, a man is either entering the woman's frame or the woman is entering into a man's frame. And so controlling the frame is really about, as a man, are you going to let this woman knock you off your purpose? Are you going to let her infiltrate your life and you stop doing things like chasing excellence and going after your hobbies and staying in good shape and making money? Because women, as a survival mechanism, will routinely test that man to ensure that he is her best possible option. You're talking about, competency tests and hypergamy in a nutshell right there. And so is this man holding frame? Holding frame is not about, she does whatever I say and I have to have her toe the line. It's, are you the steadfast rock in the storm? And is she willing to leave her frame to enter yours as a man? So that's what frame means as a man.
And not to interrupt you, but something I visualize when you talk about a picture frame, I picture with the work I've done, I have a frame too, right?
You do.
And then to be able to step into a man's frame, your frame is a little softer, but it then forms into that man's frame. So you're supporting his frame. You're making his frame stronger by stepping in, softening your frame, and then letting him hold your frame up.
You're a compliment, not a detriment to his life.
Yes.
And this ties into that question I was going to ask. And I saw Des, you were kind of nodding and smiling, look like you had, and hopefully I want you to get to that, whatever point you had, but this is for Melanie and Des. One of the things we talk a lot about in this space is that men age like wine, and the older they get, generally the better off they are. But the caveat that a lot of guys tend to miss is the asterisk of if you do the work and if you do the right things. And a lot of guys think they're just going to wake up one day in their early 40s and it's just going to be raining money and women, and they forget about the work part. So in your experiences, because I think Des, you probably have the earliest relationship, so you were probably dating more recently than any of the other ladies in relationships, and Melanie as a single woman, is what you're seeing in the dating pool. Are you seeing more of these guys that have forgotten to do the work and they're just 19-year-old men in 45-year-old bodies? What's sort of the pool that you're seeing when it comes to that age range of men?
Well, like nowadays it's harder for men just because they have to build it. It takes time to build. So me being 38, I'm not dating anybody around my age at all. So I'm dating somebody right now that's 15 years older than me. And that is, it's been going really well. But I feel like they just, once they have it and they're older and they're set, obviously they're going forward. But with the women, like, it's harder to, what I'm trying to say is it's just harder. It's easier for us to come in and make life easy, basically. But men, they do have struggle. They can't just wake up one morning and have it all together. So for me, if there was a 53-year-old man that, he's attractive, but he's putting in a little bit of work, here and there, it just doesn't do it for me, They gotta be.
I think more so what I'm getting at is, we generally when we talk about guys in their peak and guys that are really, really peaking in their early 40s or mid 40s or whatever it is, we generally tell guys that they should really have their shit together by mid 30s to early 40s at the latest. Rich talks a lot about, you should be a millionaire by 30 if possible, absolutely by 40.
That pisses off a lot of guys, by the way.
A ton of guys.
They get so mad.
So I'm buying everything you're selling, but I think what you're sort of saying is even guys in your age range, late 30s, early 40s, are still, from what you're seeing, still have maybe 10 or 15 more years of work to do before they are where they should be to essentially be a prospect for you. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
100%.
Melanie, what about you? You seeing the same things?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Desiree, I wanted to ask you, the guy that you're seeing that's 15 years older, his shit's together, he's got a good life, he's a successful man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he actually watches your content too. And I did not know that beforehand. So that was like,
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here. And pinned down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.